Bell bottoms. I remember bell
bottom.
bottoms and sunglasses.
Oh yes.
And very, very flashy shirts with the unbuttoned.
Yes, and the long hair as well.
Yes.
Sangeeta, for those of you who don't know, is my younger sister who lives in Pittsburgh. She's a neurologist, a sleep specialist. And the thing that I want to say about her is that she and I both have generosity of spirit. But what she has that I don't is that she translates that generosity into action. And that is something that she does so effortlessly and so beautifully.
Thank you, big brother. I used to call you Dada. We are all the surrogate keepers of each other's memories. So thank you for being my keeper. So yes, we have very, very strong. I do recollect the fancy dress competitions at Talmakiwadi and the Diwali programs that we used to have.
Yes.
I remember you dressed up as a soldier or a jawan.
Yes.
At the fancy dress.
Yes.
That's a memory I have, and I also remember you with a big beard. With the you were either some Kanak dance maybe.
Yes. 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 In one of the plays.
In one of the plays, so I remember being dressed up and watching from the audience.
And my memory of that time is you were in the fancy dress as Swami Vivekananda. With the orange turban and everything like that. And you were a very beautiful Vivekananda.
We were raised by a village at Talmakiwadi.
Yes.
And I'm delighted that Parvati Pachi, whose house we grew up in, is now 98 years old and still one of our favorite people and very much a part of our lives to date.
And that concept that, in those days, there were parents and there were foster parents, and there was almost no difference between the two. And especially being able to go anywhere and know that you will be given some nice ladu or some nice mithai or some nice puran poli or some nice thing
or some fish or something that you
exactly.
Of course, Amama I remember with great fondness and love. Ajaba, Ajja, we didn't call him Ajaba, we called him Ajja.
Yes.
Was a more distant figure for me, but I know that you were the apple of his eye. Thottya is what he would call you all the time. That's what brings us to Sakori, which was our home away from home.
Yes.
Having made trips maybe 4 to 6 times a year, we would go there when we were young. Correct. And I have no idea how Amma and Anu did that, lugging all 3 of us. Because of the intense journey involved, we had to catch this train, get off at Manmad. From Manmad, we had to switch to a ST bus. The ST bus would take us to Shirdi. Correct. And from Shirdi, we would have to go literally by bullock cart, is how I remember going, or Tanga. But suddenly, when you reached the other side, was this absolute joy and welcome and love, and it's bringing tears to my eyes right now because it's also Yamuna Tai's anniversary coming up soon.
Yes.
But the sheer beaming radiance on the faces that greeted us.
Yes.
Whether it was Chandriyaka or Gangutai, or all our darling aunts.
For me, the Sakori experience, in addition to all that you talk about, was what's ringing in my ears and continues to ring in my ears is the Kanyas chanting the Samved. What continues to ring in my ears is Devi Tai leading the Yajnas, right? And so therefore that kind of spiritual orientation, without really it being forced or imposed upon us, just being in the environment, had a very deep impact, very, very deep impact. So that combination of, so many ties, again, caring for us so lovingly, and on the other side, this very pure, scriptural, spiritual rigor and practice that was obvious there was just quite magical.
One of the things that came to mind was your Bruce Stegner books and your martial arts experience. Because I remember being your first jiu-jitsu partner. We had all these books on jiu-jitsu, on karate, on judo, all of them.
And the nice thing was that after I joined Wilson College, I got into a group of people who were practicing martial arts. So I could actually not just kind of do it from the books, but actually learn from a master.
Speaking for myself, it has prepared me for the big leaps I have made in life.
Yeah.
The courage with which our parents did that, how frugal they were, how much they sacrificed in order to make that happen.
Yes.
Because of Amma Anu's vision that our family had grown so much, we had outgrown the little one-room kitchen apartment we had in Talmakiwadi.
Yes.
When I moved to the United States, that's the spirit with which I came, saying, no matter what, I have my 2 suitcases and I'm prepared to take on this challenge.
See, in my case, the big transition for me was to go from that village atmosphere in Talmakiwadi and then go to Bandra and become a latchkey kid at the age of 10 years. And so therefore taking the bus and then taking the train, going to Marine Lines and then walking to St. Xavier's School.
Age 10.
And then coming back and, coming home. And then either Amama or somebody used to be at home or one of the help used to be at home. And then go down to play and then wait in the balcony and wait for Amma or Anu to step out of the bus. And they would look up and wave, saying that, oh, we are home, right? And then it was a bit of a sigh of relief that, oh, okay.
Because you were also responsible for walking us back from school when you eventually came back to St. Stanislaus.
And then I got a cycle and sometimes you used to go double seat with me. On the cycle. Yeah, they were wonderful days.
When you were 16, I was 11, 12 years old. At that time, I remember you as being somewhat impetuous. I loved your handwriting in those days, your school days, because I would inherit your books and I would go through them in my summer holidays and enjoy reading them. I would describe you as a teenager. I mean, you were a somewhat rebellious teenager in those days.
Yes. Yes.
How has that changed at 60? Oh my gosh. You've definitely tamed the impulsivity. You're so much more of a outward looking person now, and you share so much more of yourself. You are wiser for sure. Wisdom through hard life and experiences and all that you have been through, but still as loving and still as caring and still as generous, as you said, generosity of spirit. It's just expanded.
Thank you. Thank you. I see 2 conflicting trends. I see the mainstream of the world becoming less and less conscious, more and more ego-driven, impulse-driven, consumption-driven, materialism-driven. And that is one trend. And at the same time, there is another trend which is growing, but in my view, not growing rapidly enough or intensely enough, which is the urge to become more conscious, to become more compassionate, to become more responsible, to become more inclusive. And I suppose you could argue that this has been the challenge of human civilization forever, that there are these two things going on. But my sense is that even if I look at from my childhood to today, both these forces have become stronger, and it feels like the polarization between them is becoming greater. And I don't know what will happen. I really have no idea. But where I come out of it is to say that while one can't really say anything to the rest of the world, one can certainly do the work of becoming conscious yourself, and one can make a conscious effort to influence and impact the people who I am in touch with. And if that body of people increases and expands so that my consciousness can affect and influence and impact and induct a group of people who I come in contact with on a day-to-day basis, then I have been used consciously by life.
My wish for you is that you achieve your goal of reaching as many people to tell them about your experience, that you can influence your circle as widely as possible with in whatever way you choose, whether it's coaching, whether it is related to cancer, and that your love for Nilima and your children always, always, always be with you.
Thank you.